Welcome to the first episode of Money Talks, sponsored by the Sharp app. Everybody go download the Sharp app at sharp.app. I'm Jason Mezrahi, and I'm with the one and only David Meltzer. And David, I welcome you to the show and to the board. And I really, really appreciate you stopping by today. And we're going to be doing this show every single week, but talk to us about when you first got it started in sports and why you gravitated to sports as a living, as a business, as a passion, and also why you got involved with the Sharp app.
Well, just initially, sports to me was my way out, but I didn't have the talent to get me out. But I utilized what I learned in sports with stuff that I was good at, the skills, the knowledge, and desire of business and of understanding and analyzing how to build, scale, and create successful businesses. So, for me, sports was always a backdrop or a motivator, and it led me to lead the most notable sports agency in the world, moving laterally from being CEO of Samsung's phone division, understanding technology, and Leigh Steinberg himself being a visionary to see how, as Sharp proves, how technology has integrated in all aspects of sports. And Leigh, way back when, that's why he hired me to take Jeff Morad's spot there at Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment. It wasn't because I was a great athlete. It was not because I had a great sports agency background. It was because I understood the business of sports as a customer, a very big customer of Leigh's, but then also understood technology and where it was going. And I think that's what has always excited me about sports from the movie Jerry Maguire on. Sports is a great backdrop to what's truly important. And it's the passion, the purpose, and the profitability that can be created from the bug light of sports.
So let's talk about sports betting for a second. Like, obviously, we're heavily involved in sports betting from our fantasy backgrounds with everything that we're doing in daily fantasy with DraftKings and FanDuel. And then the writing was on the wall. Certain laws are changing and more changes coming. Half the country, it's illegal to sports bet now. What do you think happens over the next couple of years? Where do we see the innovation, and where do you think the teams, the organizations, the actual, the NBA, the NFL, MLB, how do they change to really gravitate to the new sports bettor and what's going on in the market?
Yeah, well, the sports bettor has a stronger frequency than ever, meaning there is stronger support and acceptability in sports betting, but it also has a much larger spectrum. We get a picture of the guy smoking cigarettes in a members only jacket when I was involved in sports, the Pete Roses of the world. But it's not true today. It's everyone who legally can gamble has access to gambling. And so it's more of a mass entertainment that also has an upside. And I think, the innovation of fantasy gave us a stepping stone for the acceptability and adaptability, as well as the technology. I'm going to go back to my pastime. I have dealt in the battery life, the speed, the latency, the processing that is necessary to effectuate the true credibility of gambling, because there's a lot to do when you have different data being distributed in different points. I would have never bet that the part that challenges gambling the most is the latency that exists in TV, not the network anymore, which is incredible that we're having difficult getting real-time sports bets, polling, and other things because TV is delayed, where the instantaneous access points create a bandwidth that allows us to actually gamble real-time, whether it's a pass or a run. It's incredible.
Yeah, I didn't realize it a couple of years ago that the sports betting, markets and books see things faster than the actual TV. I was like, how do you know that just happened? Because he was live, tapped in. We were actually at a DraftKings sports betting, championship of the world a couple of years. I'm like, really? We're actually delayed? And I was kind of shocked by that. But David, now let's talk about, sports betting, because, we got a big community at the Sharp app. Make sure you go download the app and check it out. And we see a community and we have an expert chat. Everybody's going through the ups and downs. And I've been gambling for, about 20 years. And I feel like finally when I get closer to my 40s, I'm in my late 30s, just starting to get the discipline to control the emotions. I've traded stocks all my life. I've sports bet all my life. How big is the emotional side of betting? Because how do you kind of contain yourself when you're riding hot, and then also limit yourself to get too emotional when you're having a bad streak? Because I think that's even tougher than, picking good games is controlling your emotions through all the swings.
Yeah, well, I utilize a predetermined emotional system because once you put your emotions into decision making, when it comes to gambling, you're in big trouble. And so when you start off by understanding your own timing and risk tolerance, when you utilize the best bets that are within the context of your greatest knowledge and intuition, by the way. So I'm okay on the emotional side of having a feeling, but not a feeling, a reactionary feeling, but an actionary feeling, meaning that if we have predetermined picks before we understand what has happened and have to react, that's where we're okay. We're actually statistically and proven scientifically to be more accurate in picking things when we predetermine through our timing and risk tolerance and our intuition certain areas in bets that we know a lot about. Just look, there's a lot of areas where the handicappers don't know as much as we know about a team or a game. But it's when, certain things are going to happen. There's a certain percentage when you may have more knowledge, you're still going to lose. But it's how you react and the emotions that you have to make the stupid bets. And it's usually are not aligned with the timing and risk tolerance that you started out with. And those reactionary bets can put us so far under that it's very difficult mathematically to recover.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't realize. And I hope that with sports betting being legalized, that whole mindset of meeting up with your bookie on a Monday and having like, okay, I'm up a bunch of money on Sunday. I got to bet the Sunday night game because I'm up a bunch of money. And the opposite, I'm down, say, $500 or $1,000, and it's Sunday night, and I got to clear up before Monday comes because I don't want to meet up with my bookie. I think that could be a net positive for the industry. And one thing that people rarely I've only seen a couple people, and my guy Steve, who really taught me how to bet, the discipline to know that there's tomorrow. Tomorrow's always coming. There's next week, there's next month. And I feel people I fall victim to it too, where I go to Steve or I go to some of our guys at the Sharp app. I'm like, what do you have for the Sunday night game? And it's like, I have nothing. I'm like, what do you mean you have nothing? There should be times where there actually is nothing because there's always tomorrow. And I hope people can kind of understand that and learn that. Wait till tomorrow. Wait till something's good on the board for you to make a pick, and don't jam and don't force in those bets when there really is nothing. So that emotional side, I know you just hit on it, but like, is there a way to kind of coach yourself, to train yourself to think more so for the future and not day to day, minute to minute, hour to hour?
Yeah, well, the nice thing is there's so many opportunities that didn't exist in the previous years in sports that you have, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, all the different days and so many different games that you not only have access to gamble on, but also to watch, right? And so the more games that we can watch, the more tendencies that we get a feel for, the more information that's available to us, guys like Dr. Chow that I work with that can predetermine injuries and give us a latest and greatest reports that give us a statistical advantage in a bet that we're having. But, it's so important, the discipline of timing and risk tolerance, to understand that we only want to bet on games that we have knowledge of and intuition of. And if we stick to those bets and regulate the amounts of the bets by our timing and risk tolerance, that statistically and scientifically, you have a huge advantage over the reactionary, emotional, non-regulated, amounted bets that are given and taken that put you so far into a hole. And that's when the scarcity, the desperation, the energy, the deception, the self-deception occurs when you're so far down. Now you're making bets you can't afford to catch, even just to break even. And how many of us have sat there and go, well, I'm only going to bet this much. And next thing we're down 4 times as much. And now we're gambling another 4 times that just to break even off of a bet that we never would have taken if we were disciplined, if we understood our timing and risk tolerance, and we had intuition based upon extreme knowledge of the event in which we're gambling on.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Whether you're trading stocks or you're betting the market or, with any risk game, and sports betting being one of them, it's that discipline to control your emotions that basically trumps everything else because that's when you get into trouble. And that's where you lose profits too, because you're up all this money. You don't quantify how much money you're up, and you think you're just going to keep riding hot, and you're just making a dumb decision that turns your emotions upside down. And now you're on a cold streak and you're forcing games. But let's actually get in some games. It's Tuesday.
Let me add one more thing too. I know we're going to get into some games. I got to add this because it applies to why Sharp, why I invested in Sharp, why I think it's amazing, is there's a trend that we're missing, and it's called fun. Right? Fantasy created fun. And I think there's a whole generation of gamblers that are not gambling to make money like you do, my friend, by the way, that there's a whole bunch of people like me that will put down $500 to $5,000 as entertainment, right? I drop
100%.
a couple grand just to go to a game. Now I can do a parlay with a couple underdogs and a money line bet, and I can watch 12 games on a Saturday or a Sunday, right? And I can have so much fun and emotion and all this. And I don't care if I win or lose because it's cheaper than the tickets and the dogs and the beers at the game. And I got a better view from my couch. And I have so much interest in teams that I may or may not even know about. So I think the fun quotient is going to take the gambling to another level and take Sharp to another level as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. The way I say it is I can go out for dinner and have a bad meal with my wife, bad service, spend $200 and not be happy, come back home hungry, upset, and just didn't get fulfilled with anything. Or I can sit on the couch, like you said, and sweat out a game for $100, $200. It's just like going to a casino. Like you go to a casino knowing there's a very good chance you're going to lose, but you're entertained. You have fun. You roll some dice. You hop on roulette. You play some blackjack. And I play the games that are fun. I'm not trying to grind blackjack when I'm with a bunch of friends, but if I have a bunch of friends over and we're all betting different angles of the game, props, on the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff, it is so much more fun, especially you live in New York like I do, where you're a fan of the Jets, the Mets, the Knicks, and you're typically in losing seasons by like a quarter of the way through the season. Now those games are watchable. If you can even just putting $20 on a game makes it more watchable than it's not, because we're competitors at heart. And I 100% agree with you. That's something that we definitely want to add to the mix and make sure that we're all having fun. Just like the other day, we hit the Cyphus first touchdown of the game and our expert chat just went bonkers. Like, what happened? I missed the bet, but everybody hit it for plus 2,800. So the potential down day on Sunday turned into this elated day on Monday where a $100 bet won $2,800. And those memories that you remember of hitting that bet, that's what you kind of hold on to. And we're doing it for fun. We're doing it for the competition and the entertainment factor, which is definitely huge, especially during this, we're still in this COVID era where we're stuck at home. So being at home, that entertainment value is huge. And I think there's going to be more entertainment too, where you can risk less in the future. And there's almost like a contest of sports betting where kind of like the fantasy game where whoever can pick the most games right in a certain amount of time could end up potentially winning a bunch of money off a smaller bet or a ticket entry into the contest. But Dave, I know you played some college ball. I know your partners with Warren Moon. I know you got your suite at SoFi. Nice looking suite right now with Stafford leading that team at Cooper Kupp and everything they're doing out there in LA. And I know you got some insight to a couple games. I spoke to our guy, Stat Stational, who gives out a free bet every single day on the Sharp app. And he gave me a couple clues to the games he's already looking at. So I want to discuss them with you, kind of get your take. I know coming into the season, you and Warren, or more so Warren, the QB whisperer, was on Jameis Winston. In the first game, he had the most remarkable stat line I've seen in a while. 5 touchdowns, threw for like 150, but 5 touchdowns. And then second game didn't go so well. But John likes New Orleans going to play New England. They're 3-point underdogs. Again, 3 points. Do you agree with John? Do you think Jameis and the Saints and Sean Payton can bounce back? Are we seeing more Taysom Hill this week? Have you got any insight on the Saints versus New England? Because New England barely moved the ball. They don't really have any offensive weapons. They beat the Jets, but the Jets are the Jets. This is a different team in New Orleans who beat Green Bay. What's your thoughts here? We're getting 3 points going to New England.
Yeah, no, I take the points and take New Orleans. I think, every team in football has a down day, and sometimes it's not just the competition, it's the matchups that occur and a few bad plays. And you saw that, last night on the Monday night game when a few bad plays just took those guys right out of the Green Bay game. And it just happened to New Orleans last week. So I am totally in favor of New Orleans. I don't think Taysom's going to be utilized any differently than he was previously. And Jameis is going to make the comeback with that Sean Payton controlled offense. And I'm taking New Orleans on the money line, but I'll take the points any day of the week.
There we go. And then another team that was hanging in there. They were in the game. One little pick turned everything around for Joe Burrow. But StatStation also likes the Cincinnati Bengals right now. They're -6.5, playing at home versus Trevor Lawrence. Talk about Burrow and Lawrence right here, because that's basically going to determine who wins this game for the most part, who can stand up. They're 6.5, point favorites. We like Cincinnati. What's your thoughts on Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence here?
It's tough. I'm not a big Trevor fan, as you know. I thought he was overrated. There's some certain guys that are great college quarterbacks because of the players they have around them and the system that they get to play in. I'm yet to see. I see, of course, the running ability, but I don't see the processing speed for Trevor Lawrence. So for me, Joe Burrow all the way. I think, he has not reached his potential. Let's just put it that way. We saw some glimpse of it last year before he had gotten hurt. He definitely, I'm 2 for 2 with our friend today, because I think Cincinnati is the team that I would choose as well.
Yeah, Burrow's the truth, man. If he didn't get hurt last year, the guy would have been rolling. That team has a lot of offensive weapons. Jags are still too early. Trevor Lawrence, I'm kind of with you on that. I wasn't a big Trevor Lawrence guy either. Now, a guy that some people are calling washed. His name is Matt Ryan, but he's got a really nice matchup against the Giants. So we like the Falcons +3 against the Giants. Look, Saquon Barkley, he's not there yet. We kind of see it. Daniel Jones is trying his best. The Giants, look, they're favorites at home at -3. John likes, the Falcons at +3. What's your thoughts here? This is a tough game for me because the Giants are home. The Falcons, they've been struggling, but Matt Ryan is still out there, and I would say at this point of his career is still a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. What's your thoughts here on the Falcons? Can they get their first win? Can they at least cover at +3 against the Giants?
I hate to be a homer with you, but I that's the one I disagree with. I think the Giants are going to be tough at home. I don't think Matt Ryan's the Matt Ryan of old. He's definitely the most seasoned and quality player on the field, but it's going to take a lot more. He's not that good to, I think, overcome the Giants at home. And, they can put together a lot of great offense between the two of them. So for me, I think I'm going to go against our stat friend this time, and I'm going with the New York Giants, the homer there. And I think the Giants definitely are the better pick on that one.
Last question before we go. I'm gonna ask this question every single time before we end the show. Last year, you said the Las Vegas Raiders would win the Super Bowl, and I think you were a year early because they're looking pretty good right now. What's your thoughts on the Super Bowl winner right now? Is it Tom Brady and the Bucs looking unstoppable again? Gronkowski doesn't age. Brady doesn't age. If you were making any Super Bowl bets, who's your favorite right now? Who's your dark horse to kind of maybe creep up and find a way and potentially lay a nice little futures bets on maybe a team that's on the outside looking in right now?
For me, I think Tampa Bay is the favorite. I've gone against Tom Brady so many different times, and he just continues, especially with that offense.
It's looking damn good.
Well, they can just outscore everybody, but the defense isn't bad with Tampa Bay either, right?
Yeah.
And so I do think there's a couple teams. The problem is they're on and off, and obviously you can't count Kansas City out. I don't think the surprise team for me is still Buffalo. Don't count them out either. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, but don't count Buffalo out, Kansas City out. But Tampa Bay for right now obviously looks like the team to beat.
So no talks. I thought I was going to get an LA Rams or Chargers. Yeah. Neither team. You don't believe in Stafford yet. You don't believe in Herbert. Herbert let us all down in fantasy land. It was a great matchup against
Oh,
Dak. I thought him and Keenan Allen were going to go berserk, but
I just
came up
can't pick the
short.
Rams over the Tampa Bay, right? So I had to pick an AFC team, and I think the Chargers are 1 year away still after seeing what they've done the first two games. They just do not have that closability, and they find a way. It's always the bad calls. When a team blames bad calls, they're not ready to win a Super Bowl, right? Teams that win Super Bowls don't care about what the calls they get. They find a way to win. Chargers aren't there yet. Like I said, Kansas City is there. But I don't think the Rams can beat Tampa Bay.
Yeah, look, Stafford is definitely a massive upgrade. If they stay healthy, defense can step up. They'll be in contention. If Stafford stays healthy, they're a serious out with McVay leading the charge there. They can stay healthy with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. I do think they have enough weapons to contend, but Brady and the Bucs look unstoppable right now.
I'll tell you, there's two throws last night from Aaron Rodgers that if he throws the ball like that, nobody will stop Green Bay, because I saw two perfect passes in a row, one down the middle for that touchdown that I haven't seen a ball thrown like that since Warren Moon. So, kudos to Aaron Rodgers for a couple of those throws.
Now, he looked good last night. I think that team, they have some question marks still to me. Like the Packers, there's the mindset of the organization right now, I just feel like it's a little bit in shambles, but, they're going to be competitive. It's their last dance. It would be a cool, story to finish out Green Bay. I like the way that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams posted the Jordan Pippen kind of tweet before the season started that this is going to be the last swan song. So we'll see what happens. But David, we'll be doing this again next week. Appreciate you stopping by the show. Everybody can follow David at David Meltzer, every single social media platform out there, doing this thing. Free content, not only about sports, about life, entrepreneurship, business, mindset, motivation. Anything else I missed, David?
Just be sharp. Check out sharp.app, man. This thing's incredible. Let's all have fun together. Make money, help people, and have fun.
There we go, man. You heard it from the GOAT himself, David Meltzer. And we're out of here. We'll be back next week. Make sure you go download the Sharp app and also check out sharpbets.app. Use promo code FIRST1000 for a free month over there too as well. So have a good night, everybody, and enjoy the show.